Napoleonic Wars. The battle for Europe and Napoleon's ambition. Welcome to History Facts and Mysteries. Today, we dive into one of the most transformative and fascinating periods of European history, the Napoleonic Wars. From 1803 to 1815, these wars were a global struggle, defined not just by grand battles but also by a profound clash of ideologies, ambitions, and nations. They pitted revolutionary ideals against the old monarchies and brought forth the genius and flaws of one of history's most enigmatic leaders, Napoleon Bonaparte. Napoleon's rise to power, the foundations of a legend. Napoleon's journey to power is as extraordinary as the wars themselves. Born in 1769 on the island of Corsica, Napoleon Bonaparte was the son of minor nobility. His education at French military academies revealed his talent for strategy and leadership. He first gained prominence during the French Revolution, a period of immense turmoil and opportunity. In 1793, Napoleon's success at the Siege of Toulon demonstrated his military genius, earning him a promotion to brigadier general at just 24 years old. By the late 1790s, France was embroiled in conflict with neighboring monarchies, and Napoleon's campaigns in Italy and Egypt showcased his ability to win against the odds, further enhancing his reputation. In 1799, with France's revolutionary government faltering, Napoleon staged a coup d'état, establishing himself as first consul. 4 years later, in 1804, he crowned himself Emperor of France, symbolizing his belief in his own destiny to rule. Napoleon's charisma, military brilliance, and reformist zeal made him a hero to many, but his relentless ambition would soon plunge Europe into prolonged conflict. The early Napoleonic Wars, consolidating power. The Napoleonic Wars began against the backdrop of lingering tensions from the French Revolution. Napoleon's first major challenge was against the Third Coalition, an alliance of Britain, Austria, and Russia. In 1805, at the Battle of Austerlitz, often called Napoleon's greatest victory, he defeated a larger coalition force with masterful tactics. The triumph cemented his dominance on the continent. With Austria subdued, Napoleon turned his focus on Prussia and Russia. The battles of Jena and Austerlitz in 1806 showcased his army's superior organization and speed, leading to the dissolution of the Prussian army. A year later, the Battle of Friedland saw Russia temporarily defeated, resulting in the Treaty of Tilsit, which divided Europe into French and Russian spheres of influence. During these years, Napoleon introduced sweeping reforms in the territories under his control. The Napoleonic Code, a uniform legal system, replaced outdated feudal laws, and his emphasis on meritocracy and secular governance resonated across Europe. Yet, his heavy taxation and conscription policies stirred resentment among occupied peoples. The continental system and rising resistance. Napoleon's next major challenge came from Britain, which remained beyond his reach due to its naval superiority. Following his loss at the Battle of Trafalgar in 1805, Napoleon devised the continental system, an economic blockade intended to weaken Britain by cutting off its trade with Europe. However, the blockade backfired, as smuggling and non-compliance among allies undermined its effectiveness. The Peninsular War, 1808–1814, highlighted the growing cracks in Napoleon's empire. When Napoleon attempted to install his brother Joseph as King of Spain, it sparked widespread rebellion. Spanish guerrilla warfare and British intervention, led by Arthur Wellesley, later the Duke of Wellington, tied down French forces in a costly and demoralizing conflict. The Russian campaign, a turning point. By 1812, Napoleon sought to punish Russia for withdrawing from the continental system. Leading the Grande Armée, a multinational force of over 600,000 soldiers, Napoleon invaded Russia. The campaign began successfully, with the French capturing Moscow after the bloody Battle of Borodino. However, the Russians employed scorched earth tactics, destroying supplies and retreating deeper into their vast territory. When Napoleon reached Moscow, he found the city abandoned and burning, with no prospect of resupply. Forced to retreat during the brutal Russian winter, his army suffered devastating losses from starvation, disease, and relentless Russian attacks. By the time Napoleon returned to France, fewer than 100,000 of his soldiers remained. The Russian campaign marked a catastrophic turning point. It shattered Napoleon's aura of invincibility and emboldened his enemies to form a new coalition. The fall of Napoleon. In 1813, the Sixth Coalition, comprising Britain, Austria, Prussia, Russia, and other nations, defeated Napoleon at the Battle of Leipzig, also known as the Battle of Nations. This decisive loss forced Napoleon to retreat to France. By 1814, coalition forces invaded France, and Paris fell. Napoleon was forced to abdicate and was exiled to the island of Elba, off the coast of Italy. However, Napoleon's ambition remained unquenched. In 1815, he escaped Elba and returned to France, launching a campaign known as the 100 Days. This dramatic final chapter culminated in the Battle of Waterloo, where Napoleon faced the combined forces of Britain and Prussia. Despite his tactical brilliance, he was outnumbered and defeated. Captured once more, Napoleon was exiled to the remote island of St. Helena in the South Atlantic, where he spent the remainder of his life reflecting on his legacy. The legacy of the Napoleonic Wars. The Napoleonic Wars reshaped Europe and the world in profound ways. Politically, the Congress of Vienna, 1815, sought to restore balance by redrawing national borders and reinstating monarchies. While the old order was restored in many places, the revolutionary ideals of liberty, equality, and nationalism could not be fully suppressed. These ideas inspired future movements, including the unification of Germany and Italy and independence struggles in Latin America. Economically, the wars disrupted global trade but also fostered industrial growth in some regions. Napoleon's sale of the Louisiana Territory to the United States in 1803 had a lasting impact, doubling the size of the young nation and fueling its westward expansion. Culturally, the Napoleonic era left a legacy of grandeur. From monumental architecture to military innovations, Napoleon's influence remains visible. His reforms in law and governance provided the foundation for modern institutions, and his life story continues to captivate as a tale of ambition and perseverance. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the Napoleonic Wars here at History Facts and Mysteries. This period wasn't merely about battles and conquests. It was a defining chapter in human history, a time of sweeping change, fierce ambition, and enduring legacy. Napoleon Bonaparte's rise and fall encapsulate the complexities of leadership, vision, and human ambition. His remarkable ability to inspire loyalty and reshape entire nations stands as a testament to his unparalleled genius. Yet, his relentless pursuit of dominance serves as a cautionary tale, reminding us of the consequences of overextending power and neglecting the forces of resistance. The Napoleonic Wars brought both progress and turmoil. They sowed the seeds of modernity through revolutionary reforms, codified laws, and a challenge to the entrenched structures of old monarchies. At the same time, they brought immense suffering, with millions of lives lost and entire regions left devastated by conflict. The echoes of this era are felt in the borders, governments, and institutions we recognize today, as well as in the enduring cultural fascination with Napoleon's larger-than-life persona. As we reflect on this transformative period, it's clear that history isn't just about events. It's about understanding the interplay of ideas, decisions, and human aspirations. Napoleon's story is a reminder of the complexity of the past and the lessons it holds for the present. If you've enjoyed this exploration of the Napoleonic Wars, please subscribe to History Facts and Mysteries and turn on notifications to continue uncovering the fascinating stories of our shared history. What aspects of this era intrigued you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments. We love hearing from history enthusiasts like you.